We often underestimate the power of silence, thinking that we must always defend, react, or explain ourselves. From a young age, we're taught that responding quickly and speaking up is a sign of confidence and control. When we face criticism, we feel the urge to defend ourselves. When we're provoked, we rush to react. And when misunderstandings arise, we often try to explain or justify our actions. Yet, the more we speak, the more we entangle ourselves in unnecessary conflicts and distractions. In a world that never stops talking, silence stands out as a rare and powerful weapon. We live in an era where constant communication is not just expected, but demanded. We're flooded with messages, calls, notifications, and conversations from the moment we wake up. In this never-ending stream of noise, silence can seem almost unnatural, a void that we feel compelled to fill. But in reality, silence is not just an absence of sound. It is an active and deliberate choice, one that can carry more weight than any words we could speak. The Stoics, however, understood something profound. Silence is not a weakness. It is a quiet weapon, one that reflects mastery over the self. To remain silent when the world expects noise is an act of strength, one that demonstrates inner peace and self-assurance. This video will explore how silence, when practiced with intention, can become your greatest weapon for protecting your peace, asserting your power, and achieving self-mastery. Before we dive in, if you find value in this message, I invite you to subscribe and join this community where we strive to grow together. Only 15% of viewers are subscribed, so if this resonates with you, subscribing ensures you won't miss content designed to elevate your life. Let's begin this journey into the art of silence and discover why, in a world full of noise, choosing to be silent is the ultimate expression of strength. Chapter 1. The Wisdom of Silence, Knowing When to Speak and When to Stay Silent. In Stoicism, silence is not simply the absence of words, but an intentional act, rooted in the wisdom of knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminds us, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This insight speaks directly to the Stoic belief that the practice of silence is not just about restraint, but about creating space to truly observe, reflect, and understand before responding. Silence as a conscious choice. To remain silent, especially in a world that values quick responses and constant communication, is a conscious act of strength. In most situations, our first impulse is to speak, whether to defend ourselves, assert our opinions, or seek validation. This is often driven by ego, the fear of appearing weak, or the desire to prove ourselves right. However, the Stoic perspective encourages us to recognize that our immediate reactions are seldom wise. Silence allows us to pause, to detach from the emotional surge that often accompanies conflict or criticism. It is in this space between impulse and action where we find the opportunity to choose a response that aligns with our principles, rather than one dictated by emotion or external pressures. Choosing silence over speech is the first step toward mastering the self, for it shows that we are no longer at the mercy of our reactions. The role of ego, fear, and validation. Much of what we say, especially in moments of stress or confrontation, is a result of ego and fear. We speak out of a need to be heard, to assert dominance, or to defend our fragile sense of self. But Stoic philosophy teaches us to look beyond these surface-level urges. What is gained by reacting impulsively? Often, it is not resolution, but escalation. By speaking without thinking, we risk entangling ourselves in unnecessary conflicts or regretting words spoken in haste. When we feel the urge to react quickly, whether in defense or in anger, it's important to ask ourselves, am I speaking out of fear, or am I truly contributing something meaningful? More often than not, we speak not because it is necessary, but because silence feels uncomfortable. This discomfort comes from the ego's need for validation and control, but true wisdom lies in recognizing that we don't always need to respond to be powerful. Application: the practice of pausing before speaking. One of the most practical ways to harness the power of silence is to introduce the simple yet profound practice of pausing before speaking. This pause creates a buffer, a moment of reflection where you can evaluate the situation before reacting. Here's how it works. Step 1. In moments of conflict or emotional intensity, take a deep breath and resist the urge to respond immediately. Step 2. Ask yourself, what purpose will my words serve? Am I speaking to clarify or resolve, or am I reacting from emotion? Step 3. Reflect. Is silence more appropriate here? Can this situation benefit from my restraint, allowing the other person to speak or the moment to settle? Step 4. If you choose to speak, speak with intention, not out of fear, ego, or the desire to prove yourself, but from a place of clarity and understanding. This simple pause can transform not only how you interact with others, but also how you perceive conflict and challenge. In silence, we gain the clarity to understand what truly matters. We listen more attentively, we observe more carefully, and most importantly, we give ourselves the space to choose responses that are aligned with our values, rather than driven by impulse. The foundation of wisdom. Silence, when practiced with intention, becomes a gateway to wisdom. By pausing before we speak, we free ourselves from the grip of ego and emotion, and in that pause, we create space for reflection and deliberate action. As Epictetus reminds us, the balance between listening and speaking is where true wisdom resides. It is not about saying nothing. It is about saying only what truly needs to be said. In knowing when to remain silent and when to speak, we find the foundation of self-mastery. Chapter 2. Silence as emotional mastery. Control over yourself, not others. Epictetus once taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In this simple yet profound teaching, Epictetus captures the essence of Stoicism, the idea that while we have little control over the external world, we have complete authority over how we respond to it. And among the most powerful ways to exert this control is through silence. Silence as the ultimate expression of self-control. In a world filled with constant noise, opinions, judgments, provocations, our natural instinct is often to react. When someone criticizes us, we feel an immediate urge to defend ourselves, to prove them wrong, or to explain our side. This reaction, while understandable, is often driven by insecurity or the need for external validation. We think that by responding quickly, we will regain control over the situation. But Stoicism teaches us a different truth. True power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering ourselves. We cannot control what others think of us, nor can we control the actions they take. What we can control, however, is how we choose to react. Silence, when used deliberately, becomes the ultimate expression of this mastery. It is a statement that says, I will not be swayed by the judgments or provocations of others. I remain calm, composed, and centered. The impulse to defend and the freedom in silence. When provoked or criticized, the impulse to respond often comes from a place of ego. We want to defend our reputation, justify our actions, or prove our worth. Yet Stoicism encourages us to rise above these fleeting urges. Why waste energy defending yourself when the opinions of others are beyond your control? The more we react to every slight or criticism, the more we give power to those external forces, allowing them to dictate our emotional state. Silence in this context is not passive. It is a conscious choice to protect your inner peace. By choosing silence, you demonstrate to yourself and to others that you are in control of your emotions. You are not reactive. You are not dependent on the approval or disapproval of others. You remain focused on what truly matters, your own principles and values. The Stoic's power of not reacting. For a Stoic, power is measured not by the ability to control others, but by the ability to control one's own mind. In moments of conflict, the Stoic asks, "Is my reaction going to serve my higher purpose?" More often than not, the answer is no. The need to respond or to engage in a heated debate is usually driven by emotion, not wisdom. Consider this. Every time we react impulsively to a provocation, we hand over our emotional power to someone else. We allow their words or actions to dictate how we feel. In contrast, when we choose silence, we retain our power. We send a clear message that no one else has control over our state of mind. Epictetus's wisdom reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By reacting with silence, we remind ourselves that we're not at the mercy of external events. We can remain calm and detached, letting the storm pass while we remain centered and composed. Application: practicing silence in conflict. In moments of conflict, whether it be an argument with a loved one, criticism from a colleague, or a misunderstanding with a stranger, the impulse to react can feel overwhelming. But it is in these moments that silence becomes our most powerful tool. Here's how to apply this practice. Step 1. Recognize the provocation. Acknowledge the moment when you feel the urge to defend or explain yourself. Step 2. Pause before responding. Create space between the provocation and your reaction. Use this moment to remind yourself that you are in control of your own emotions. Step 3. Ask yourself, will my words bring clarity and peace, or will they escalate the situation? In many cases, silence will serve you better than words. Step 4. Choose silence intentionally. Instead of reacting impulsively, hold your peace. In doing so, you prevent the other person from gaining power over your emotional state. This practice of silence keeps you grounded, preventing unnecessary escalation and maintaining your inner peace. Over time, it becomes a habit, a way of staying centered in a world that constantly seeks to pull you off balance. True mastery lies in the self. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control others, only ourselves. Silence is the clearest expression of this mastery. When we choose not to react, we show that we are in control, not of external events, but of our own minds. The world may provoke us, criticize us, or misunderstand us, but it cannot disturb our peace unless we allow it. By practicing silence, especially in moments of conflict, we preserve our emotional energy and protect our inner calm. We remain centered in our principles, unaffected by the chaos around us. In choosing silence, we embody the Stoic ideal of self-mastery, demonstrating that the greatest power lies not in controlling others, but in controlling ourselves. Chapter 3. Silence in conflict. Choosing not to engage in every battle. Better to trip with the feet than with the tongue. Zeno of Citium. The Stoics believed that words, like actions, should be chosen carefully. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, recognized that while physical missteps may lead to temporary embarrassment, the harm caused by ill-chosen words can last much longer. In conflict, our first instinct is often to react, defend, or attack. But Stoicism teaches us that not every battle is worth fighting. Sometimes the most powerful response is silence. Knowing which conflicts to avoid. Not every conflict requires your engagement. The desire to respond quickly, to defend your honor, or to correct someone's misunderstanding often comes from a place of ego. We feel that by speaking up, we will prove ourselves right, or gain validation from others. Yet Stoicism urges us to see beyond the immediate emotion and ask ourselves whether the conflict truly deserves our energy. By choosing silence, we free ourselves from the need to prove anything. Silence allows us to disengage from unnecessary battles, showing that we are not easily pulled into trivial disputes. It is a declaration of inner peace and self-assurance, signaling that our sense of self-worth does not depend on the opinions or provocations of others. In fact, most conflicts are distractions from what truly matters in life: our purpose, values, and inner peace. Stoicism teaches that engaging in every argument is a waste of energy, diverting us from the higher goals we should be focused on. Power of silence in conflict. In conflicts, emotions can run high, and the impulse to react quickly often clouds our judgment. But silence, when practiced deliberately, gives us the space to assess the situation from a place of wisdom, not impulse. By refusing to engage in every argument, you rise above the noise, showing that you are in control of your own emotions and are not swayed by external forces. Engaging in verbal battles rarely leads to resolution. It often escalates tension, creating deeper rifts. Silence, on the other hand, diffuses tension. When you don't respond to every provocation, the conflict begins to lose its power over you. Your silence forces the other person to pause, and over time, the momentum of the conflict begins to dissipate. Philosophical insight. Better to trip with the feet than with the tongue. Zeno's wisdom highlights the idea that speaking hastily can cause far more damage than silence ever could. In the heat of conflict, we may say things we regret, words that linger long after the moment has passed. By choosing silence, you safeguard your integrity, ensuring that your words, when spoken, carry weight and purpose. Silence as a strategy in conflict. Silence, when used strategically, is not an act of avoidance. It is an assertion of strength. It shows that you are not easily provoked and that you understand the difference between battles worth fighting and those that only serve to drain your energy. Over time, the ability to stay silent in conflict builds an image of composure and maturity. You begin to embody the qualities of self-control and wisdom, traits that are deeply respected in both personal and professional relationships. When you remain silent, the other person is left without the reaction they were hoping for. In many cases, people provoke conflict because they seek a response, be it anger, frustration, or validation. By refusing to respond, you deny them that satisfaction, causing them to reevaluate their approach. Your silence shifts the power dynamic, leaving them to confront their own words and actions. Example: imagine a heated argument where the other person is escalating, trying to provoke you into defending yourself. Instead of responding, you remain calm and silent. The longer you maintain your silence, the more erratic and uncontrolled the other person appears. In contrast, you appear composed, strong, and unshaken by their attempts to drag you into the conflict. Philosophical insight. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. By choosing not to engage in every argument, you demonstrate your commitment to your own principles. You are not wasting time proving yourself to others. You are living by the standards you have set for yourself. Silence, in this case, becomes a testament to your integrity. Application. Using silence as a conflict strategy. Here's how to apply the Stoic approach of silence in moments of conflict. Step 1. Recognize the conflict. When a situation arises where you feel challenged or provoked, take a moment to assess the stakes. Is this battle worth engaging in? Will it serve your higher purpose? Step 2. Pause before reacting. As with emotional mastery, allow a moment of silence to create space between the conflict and your response. In that pause, you regain control over your reaction. Step 3. Choose silence as a response. In many cases, choosing silence will speak louder than any argument you could make. By not responding, you signal that you are unshaken by the provocation. Step 4. Observe the shift. Over time, as the conflict loses its momentum, you will notice that your silence has defused the situation. The person provoking you may begin to question their own actions or lose interest in the argument altogether. The strength of disengagement. By choosing silence, you are disengaging from unnecessary conflict while retaining your power. You are not ignoring the conflict, but strategically choosing not to engage, understanding that some battles are not worth your energy or attention. This strength of disengagement is what sets Stoics apart. They are selective about where they invest their emotional and mental resources, always keeping their higher purpose in mind. Silence as a weapon in conflict. Not every conflict is worth fighting, and Stoicism teaches us to discern which battles truly deserve our energy. By choosing silence in moments of provocation, we rise above the pettiness of argument and maintain our peace of mind. Silence allows us to disengage without appearing weak. In fact, it demonstrates our strength and self-control. Over time, this practice of silence in conflict builds an image of calm authority, while those who provoke us appear small and reactive. In choosing not to engage in every battle, we preserve our energy for the things that truly matter, and we show that our inner peace is far more valuable than winning trivial disputes. Through silence, we become masters of ourselves and the conflicts that come our way. Chapter 4. The Power of Silence in Relationships. Building Strength Through Restraint. He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still. Lao Tzu. In relationships, silence can often be more powerful than words. It can reveal confidence, self-respect, and emotional resilience in ways that excessive talking or explaining cannot. Lao Tzu's timeless insight reminds us that true strength lies not in controlling others, but in mastering oneself. This mastery is especially important in personal relationships, where emotions often run high and the desire to justify, explain, or defend can cloud judgment. Silence, when practiced with intention, becomes a way to assert your worth and maintain emotional balance. Silence as a reflection of self-worth. In relationships, whether romantic, familial, or friendships, there is often a tendency to explain ourselves. We want to clarify misunderstandings, justify our feelings, or defend our actions. While communication is crucial in any relationship, silence also has its place. Choosing not to explain every feeling or reaction demonstrates that you are confident in yourself and your decisions. It shows that you do not need external validation for your thoughts or actions. This kind of silence communicates self-worth. It says, "I am secure enough to let things unfold without having to force an explanation or justification." The need to justify often stems from insecurity, but choosing silence reflects emotional resilience and a deep sense of inner confidence. The strength of restraint in relationships. Many people view silence as a form of withdrawal or indifference, but in the context of Stoicism, silence is a form of strength. It is an active choice to withhold words until they are necessary and meaningful. In moments of tension or disagreement, rushing to explain can sometimes escalate the situation rather than resolve it. By remaining silent, you create space, not only for yourself to reflect, but for the other person to process their own emotions and thoughts. Silence in relationships does not mean avoiding communication. Rather, it means choosing your words with care. It means allowing time for the dust to settle before responding, so that what you say comes from a place of clarity and intention, not impulse or defensiveness. Restraint builds strength, and in relationships, this strength fosters trust and respect. Philosophical insight. He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still. The Stoic approach to relationships is one of self-mastery, not control over others. In moments of conflict or emotional turbulence, the person who can remain calm, composed, and silent when necessary is the one who possesses true power. Mastering yourself, your emotions, reactions, and words makes you a stronger, more reliable partner in any relationship. The importance of silence in emotional reactions. In emotionally charged moments, it is easy to say things we don't mean, to react impulsively, or to try to fix the situation by over-explaining. However, these impulsive reactions often do more harm than good. When we speak out of emotion rather than intention, we can create misunderstandings or deepen conflicts. Choosing silence in these moments allows for reflection. It gives both you and the other person the opportunity to step back, breathe, and gain perspective. By not reacting immediately, you prevent yourself from saying something in the heat of the moment that you might regret. More importantly, you maintain your emotional equilibrium, which sets a calm, stable foundation for resolving the issue later. Application. Using silence to build trust and respect in relationships. Silence, when used wisely, strengthens relationships. Here's how to apply silence as a tool for emotional restraint and strength in personal interactions. Step 1. Pause before reacting. When you feel emotionally triggered in a relationship, whether through anger, frustration, or even excitement, pause. Instead of rushing to speak, take a moment to reflect on whether your words will add value or merely fuel the emotional fire. Step 2. Avoid unnecessary explanations. Not every action or feeling needs to be explained. In many situations, allowing your actions to speak for themselves is more powerful than verbal justification. When you don't feel the need to explain, you demonstrate confidence and self-assuredness. Step 3. Let silence create space for reflection. In moments of disagreement or conflict, allow silence to do the heavy lifting. Give the other person space to reflect on their own emotions and actions. This space often leads to greater clarity and understanding on both sides. Step 4. Use silence to reset. When an argument begins to escalate, choosing to step back and remain silent can prevent things from spiraling out of control. Silence acts as a reset button, bringing calm back into the conversation and allowing both sides to approach the issue with greater patience and thoughtfulness. Imagine a situation where your partner or friend accuses you of something unfairly. Instead of immediately defending yourself, take a moment of silence. Let their words settle without reacting impulsively. In this silence, the intensity of their emotions may soften as they begin to reflect on their own behavior. Your silence shows that you are not rattled or defensive, but calm and composed, qualities that foster deeper respect and trust. The stability of silence in relationships. In any close relationship, emotional resilience is key. Silence gives you the space to build that resilience. By not reacting impulsively, you protect the integrity of your relationships and give them room to grow naturally. When others see that you are capable of holding your peace, they are more likely to trust your judgment and respect your ability to remain grounded, even in difficult times. Philosophical insight. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. By practicing silence, you shift from talking about your worth to demonstrating it. Silence reflects your ability to lead by example, to remain steadfast in your principles, even when emotions run high. This is how trust is built in relationships, not through words, but through the consistency of your actions and the calm, composed way you navigate challenges. Building strength through silence. In relationships, silence is not a sign of indifference. It is a sign of strength. It shows that you are in control of your emotions, that you are confident enough to let things unfold without forcing explanations or justifications. Silence allows space for reflection, both for yourself and for the other person, fostering an environment of mutual respect and trust. By choosing to remain silent when emotions run high, you protect the foundation of your relationship, ensuring that your actions are guided by wisdom, not impulse. This is the power of silence. It builds strength, resilience, and stability in all of your connections. Ultimately, in mastering the art of silence, you demonstrate not just power over yourself, but an unshakable sense of self-worth that others naturally respect. Chapter 5. Silence as a tool for focus. Preserving your energy for what truly matters. If you are disturbed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Marcus Aurelius. In a world full of distractions, maintaining focus on what truly matters is one of the greatest challenges we face. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, reminds us that external disturbances only affect us because we allow them to. We hold the power to decide what disturbs our peace and what doesn't. One of the most effective ways to preserve our focus and energy in life is through the conscious use of silence. Silence becomes a powerful tool that protects your mental clarity, allowing you to stay centered and aligned with your higher purpose. Silence as a shield for your energy. We often underestimate how much energy is consumed by unnecessary words, whether they are part of trivial arguments, explanations we don't owe, or conversations that stray far from our core values. Every time we engage in conflict or idle talk, we expend mental and emotional energy that could be better invested in our goals, relationships, and personal growth. Silence, when used wisely, shields you from this constant energy drain. By choosing not to engage in every discussion or dispute, you protect your resources and remain focused on what truly matters. The Stoics understood that silence is a way to stay grounded, focused, and aligned with your purpose, even in the midst of chaos. In silence, you preserve your strength, ensuring that you are directing your energy toward the things that matter most, your values, goals, and personal growth. The energy cost of words. Words have weight, and when spoken without intention, they can become a burden. Engaging in arguments, defending trivial matters, or even participating in idle gossip not only takes up time, but also pulls you away from your focus. Every word spoken in haste or out of obligation drains you, leaving you with less energy to dedicate to the things that matter most. Consider how often we get caught up in unnecessary conversations, whether it's defending ourselves from minor criticisms or engaging in debates that don't serve our higher purpose. These words drain us, not just emotionally, but mentally, as they occupy space in our thoughts and distract us from our deeper objectives. Philosophical insight. If you are disturbed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. The noise around us, conflicts, arguments, trivial debates, only holds as much power as we give it. Silence is a way to reclaim that power. Instead of reacting to every external disturbance, you can choose silence and remain focused on the things that truly matter to you. The power of silence in conserving focus. By choosing silence, you conserve your emotional and mental energy. You give yourself space to reflect, to think clearly, and to decide what is worthy of your time. Silence, in this way, is a tool for focus. It clears the noise, allowing you to direct your attention toward your highest values and goals without the distraction of unnecessary conversations or conflicts. The Stoics believed that silence was more than the absence of speech. It was the presence of self-control. When you choose to remain silent in the face of provocations or distractions, you demonstrate that you are in control of where your energy flows. This level of focus is essential for achieving personal growth, fulfilling your purpose, and maintaining inner peace. Application: learning to prioritize silence for focus. To use silence as a tool for focus, it's important to develop the habit of recognizing when speaking would derail you from your purpose. Here's how to apply this. Step 1. Assess the situation. When you are drawn into a conversation or conflict, ask yourself, is this discussion aligned with my values? Is this something that will move me toward my goals, or is it a distraction? If the answer is the latter, consider silence as your response. Step 2. Choose silence over reaction. In moments when you feel compelled to defend yourself or engage in trivial arguments, take a breath and pause. Ask yourself whether the energy spent on this argument is worth it. More often than not, choosing silence will allow you to conserve that energy for more meaningful pursuits. Step 3. Use silence to create space for reflection. Instead of filling every moment with speech, allow silence to be a space for reflection and clarity. In silence, you can assess what truly deserves your attention and focus. This reflection strengthens your connection to your values and helps you avoid distractions. Step 4. Protect your energy by disengaging from noise. Social interactions, especially those that are emotionally charged, can drain your energy. By not engaging in every argument or idle conversation, you shield your focus and stay aligned with your goals. Example: imagine being in a conversation where someone makes a minor criticism of you or your work. Instead of defending yourself or explaining why you're right, you choose to remain silent. In that silence, you realize that their criticism doesn't affect your core values or purpose. By not engaging, you protect your emotional energy and stay focused on what truly matters: your long-term vision and personal growth. The power of silence in creating clarity. In the chaos of life, silence is what allows you to hear your own thoughts. It's what gives you the ability to see past the distractions and focus on the bigger picture. When you practice silence regularly, you create a habit of stepping back from the noise and asking yourself, what truly deserves my energy and attention? This clarity is what makes silence such a powerful tool for focus. In a world filled with noise, the person who can maintain silence is the person who remains centered. The energy you conserve by choosing silence can then be directed toward your goals, personal development, and the relationships that truly matter. Silence, therefore, becomes a way of protecting your focus. It keeps you aligned with your purpose and prevents you from being swayed by the trivial or the temporary. The gift of silence for focus. Silence is more than just the absence of speech. It's a deliberate choice to conserve your energy for the things that matter most. By choosing silence, you protect your focus, ensuring that your time and energy are spent in service of your goals and values, rather than being wasted on distractions or trivial matters. As Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, the things that disturb us are only as powerful as we allow them to be. By practicing silence, we revoke the power of external disturbances, and regain control over our own focus and peace of mind. In a world of constant noise, silence is the tool that helps you preserve your energy for what truly matters. Choosing silence allows you to remain grounded in your purpose, aligned with your values, and focused on your personal growth. It is a powerful reminder that not every conversation, argument, or disturbance deserves your attention. And in mastering silence, you master your ability to live a life of intention and clarity. Chapter 6. Silence as a reflection of inner peace, the ultimate display of self-control. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. True strength, as Marcus Aurelius teaches us, lies in our ability to control our own minds, not in controlling the external world. This simple yet profound Stoic wisdom reminds us that while we cannot control the opinions, actions, or reactions of others, we have absolute control over our responses. Silence, when practiced with intention, becomes the ultimate reflection of inner peace and self-control. It demonstrates that we have mastered ourselves, that we are grounded in our own sense of worth, and that we do not need the approval or validation of others to remain calm and composed. Silence as a reflection of inner peace. In a world where many feel the constant need to prove, explain, or defend themselves, silence becomes a powerful reflection of inner peace. Those who are truly at peace with themselves are not easily provoked. They do not need to justify their actions, their worth, or their values to anyone. When you are at peace with who you are, the noise of the outside world, whether it is criticism, praise, or provocation, has little effect on your state of mind. Silence in difficult or tense situations shows that you are in control of yourself. You do not need to be reactive. You are not dependent on the opinions of others to validate your existence or your decisions. True peace comes from within, and it is in silence that this peace becomes visible to the world. The freedom from external validation. Much of the world's conflict, stress, and anxiety comes from the need to respond to external events. Whether it's criticism at work, a disagreement with a loved one, or pressure from society to behave in certain ways, the impulse to react quickly often stems from a fear of how others perceive us. Stoicism teaches us to detach from this need for validation. When you choose silence, especially in moments where others expect you to react, you are making a powerful statement. I do not need to defend myself because I know who I am. This refusal to engage in the noise of others' opinions shows that your sense of self-worth is internal. You are anchored in your own values, not swayed by the changing winds of external judgment. The ultimate display of self-control. The ability to remain silent in the face of tension, conflict, or criticism is a hallmark of true self-control. When others might be quick to argue, explain, or defend, the person who chooses silence shows that they are in complete command of their emotions. This is the essence of Stoicism, the ability to remain unaffected by external events, to stay calm and grounded no matter what is happening around you. Philosophical insight. You have power over your mind, not outside events. When you realize that no external force can truly disturb your peace unless you allow it to, you unlock an immense source of strength. Silence becomes a tool of self-preservation, a way to maintain your inner calm and resist the temptation to react to every external stimulus. Choosing silence over reaction. In moments of difficulty, when emotions are running high and the pressure to respond is strong, silence becomes a protective barrier. Instead of reacting impulsively to defend your ego or prove a point, Silence allows you to step back and maintain control. It gives you time to reflect and ensures that, if and when you do respond, your response is measured and aligned with your values. Consider the power of remaining silent during a heated argument. While the other person may be raising their voice or throwing accusations, your silence communicates that you are not rattled, that you are in control of yourself. Over time, this calm presence often diffuses the tension, allowing space for reflection and resolution. Example: imagine a situation at work where a colleague criticizes your approach in front of others. The immediate reaction might be to defend yourself, to argue back, or to explain your reasoning. But instead, you choose silence. You let their words pass without reaction. In doing so, you show that you are not easily provoked, and you leave the criticism hanging in the air for others to judge. Your silence speaks louder than any defense, because it shows that you are confident enough not to need one. Application: cultivating silence as a regular practice. The power of silence does not only lie in moments of conflict, it can be cultivated as a daily practice that reinforces inner peace. By regularly choosing silence, not just when provoked but in everyday situations, you build a deep well of calm and resilience that serves you in difficult moments. Here are some ways to incorporate silence into your daily life. Practice 1. Meditation. One of the most powerful ways to cultivate silence is through meditation. Regular meditation allows you to sit in silence with your thoughts, giving you the space to observe without reacting. This practice builds emotional resilience and helps you stay calm under pressure. Practice 2. Reflective thinking. Take moments throughout your day to step back and reflect in silence. Whether it's a few minutes in the morning or before bed, allow yourself time to think without distraction. In these moments, you can realign with your values and goals and let go of the noise of the outside world. Practice 3. Choosing not to engage in meaningless conversations. Not every conversation requires your participation. Learn to recognize when speaking is unnecessary or even counterproductive. By choosing silence in these moments, you conserve your mental energy and maintain your focus on what truly matters. Practice 4. Non-reactivity in tense situations. The next time you feel the urge to defend yourself, pause. Ask yourself whether your words will contribute to the resolution of the situation or whether silence would serve you better. More often than not, silence preserves your peace and prevents unnecessary conflict. Over time, as you cultivate silence in your daily life, you will notice that it becomes a source of deep strength and calm. You will no longer feel the need to react to every situation, and this sense of control will become a reflection of your inner peace. Silence as inner strength. Silence is more than a lack of words. It is a reflection of deep inner peace and self-control. Those who have mastered the art of silence demonstrate that they are grounded in themselves, unaffected by the shifting tides of external events. In choosing silence, especially in moments of tension or conflict, you show that you are in control of your mind and that your sense of self-worth is not dependent on others' opinions. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. By embracing silence, you assert that power, showing the world that you are at peace with yourself and that no external force can disturb your calm. Over time, this silence becomes your greatest source of strength, a quiet but undeniable display of your mastery over the self. Cultivate silence as a regular practice in your life. In this silence, you will find not only peace, but also the ultimate display of self-control. The conclusion: the timeless power of silence. Throughout history, philosophers like the Stoics have recognized the profound impact that silence can have on the mind, the heart, and one's overall sense of peace. When practiced with intention, silence becomes one of the greatest tools for self-mastery, focus, and emotional stability. In a world that constantly demands our attention and reaction, silence offers us a moment to reflect, to choose our response, and to align with our higher values. It embodies the Stoic ideal of controlling our mind, emotions, and reactions, rather than being controlled by external events. By choosing silence, you preserve your energy for what truly matters. You no longer waste your time on trivial conflicts or unnecessary conversations. Instead, you cultivate inner calm and a deep sense of purpose. This allows you to navigate life's challenges with grace and clarity, demonstrating that true power comes from within, not from the need to assert yourself in every situation. Final thought: the ultimate expression of strength. As you move through life, remember that silence is not an absence of power. It is, in fact, the ultimate expression of strength. It takes tremendous self-control to remain silent in situations where others may react impulsively or defensively. But in that silence, you show that you are grounded in your own self-worth, that you are in control of your reactions, and that you understand the power of restraint. Let your silence speak for you, for it often says far more than words ever could. Silence communicates confidence, inner peace, and wisdom. It demonstrates that you do not need to prove yourself, because you are secure in who you are. In a noisy world, those who practice silence stand out, not through their words, but through the strength of their calm, composed presence. In the end, silence is timeless. It transcends the need for explanation or validation. It reflects a deep understanding of yourself and the world around you. So, the next time you are faced with conflict, criticism, or unnecessary noise, remember that silence is your greatest weapon, a quiet but powerful force that protects your peace, asserts your strength, and allows you to stay focused on what truly matters in life. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found this message valuable, please subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's continue growing together, one step at a time.